Thank you so much. My name is Robert Arega. Honorable Minister, I'm privileged to have your time, especially this 2026 general election, which is forthcoming. We have different leaders who contested for different positions, and now they are seeking re-election. In the 2021-2026 period, you had one or two issues you placed before the people, and they entrusted you, and you're going back to seek for their, support. What are the things that you had that you think you've achieved over the years?
Well, my name is Obiga Kanya, Minister of State for Urban Development and a Member of Parliament for Terego East constituency, where I won in 2016 and again in 2021. I'm seeking re-election for that constituency because I believe I was able to deliver to a great extent on what I had promised. First of all, no politician will deliver on everything that you promise, and especially if the promises are realistic, because they need the resources, and your anticipation of the resources, particularly the sources being from government, may sometimes not come. Having said that, I think I've done very well in my constituency, beginning in 2016, when I asked the government to divide Terego into two constituencies, which kindly, with the support of His Excellency the President, was accepted. In 2019, I also asked the President for the position of Terego becoming a district. And again, with the support of the President and the Cabinet, that was granted. And that was the only district in those 5 years, from 2016 up to 2021, which was given a district status. And on the reorganization of administration, I still believe I have areas where I could ask more, and the government, having understood my position, will be able to grant more. The current sub-counties of Terego, which are 7, are all very large apart from Leju Town Council. They need the redivision. But also the parishes, apart from the sub-counties, are very large. Terego actually needs more than 20 sub-counties in order to be manageable by an LC3 chairperson. So that is going to be my next focus when I go to the 12th Parliament, which hopefully I will go. But also there's the issue of infrastructure, on which I have promised, and to a large extent I've worked. I promised the people of Terego over the issue of power, and to a large extent the national grid has been taken to Terego. There are still areas which are left by what we call the end user lines, to the villages and to the schools, to the health centers which are left, to the sub-counties. I need to complete this. Similarly, there's the issue of our main road from Manibe up to Yumbe, which I promised the people. I'm happy to report that this is one road. Sometimes the people in Yumbe or in Terego talk as if they've only one part of the road, which is for them and not for the other one. No, this is one road. And therefore I'm happy to report that from Yumbe up to Ore, government has now got a contractor, and before July, the actual construction by tractors, graders and so on will start. The part from Ore up to Manibe has been surveyed and it is designed already. And the government is now in the process of getting the financing. What people don't understand is that the construction of a road requires critical survey and critical design. These are the most important parts. Once those are done, it is easier to go look for funding and easier to start the actual construction. Therefore, I think I'm in a great extent, I've done my part on that, and I want to complete this project. I also have promises for water for our people. During the dry season, Terego is water stricken. Many areas don't have water. Our women and children and the young people suffer from a lot of lack of water. We've done a lot of lobbying, and I'm happy to report that a number of dams are due to be constructed in that area. For example, in the area of Udupi, there are 4 big boreholes which are going to be drilled there. 2 of them have already been drilled. When the other 2 are already drilled, then you will have a completion, the piping of these water areas. And then there are areas like dams which have been put on lower in our river. There are some solar water pump systems which have been done all over Terego. And it's my belief that if I go back, I will complete the process of lobbying for water. And many other infrastructure developments, schools, health centers. I was able to lobby for a health center in Mount Wati, which is Health Center 3 now. And I'm happy that the progress is going very well after we intervened right from the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, because we were the ones who were financing it. The district was not taking a lot of effort. I'm happy that this is about to be completed, and many other projects which has to be completed. In short, there are so many of these projects, leave alone income generation. After all these infrastructures and administrative units, for your information, in the next parliament, 12th parliament, I intend to fight for areas like Wandi, Okubala, Okotani, or Chaudhry to become town councils. And this will complete the re-administration boundary marking in Terego. So once I've done this, my next focus will be income generation for our people, so that they can enjoy these various infrastructure. Without income, people cannot enjoy these projects. So in short, why am I seeking for re-election? There is a lot of work to be done. A lot has been done, but there's still a lot left to be done. And the good thing, I have established connections, very good connections with this government. I'm part of this government right from the beginning, right from the time when it was in the bush. So using these connections, I believe I'm in the best position rather than anybody else to make sure that Terego benefits from this, from my tenure as a member of parliament. And hopefully, I will retain my position as a minister. Thank you.
If you look at balancing legislative role, the main mandate for which people have sent you for, besides the appointment role where the president appointed you vis-a-vis the community, politics now has changed from only representation to doing other services, corporate social responsibility, building churches, community developments. How have you been handling this?
Well, it is true, the main role of a member of parliament is to legislate. But people should know where legislation, the bulk of the legislation originates from. It originates from government. All these laws which are passed in parliament, they first originate from the government, from the cabinet. So if you have an opportunity to have a member of parliament in cabinet, it's a big advantage, because you will even know which legislation is about to come to parliament, which will be passed later. By the time we come to parliament, a lot of the work has been done in the ministries and in the cabinet. We merely go to cabinet in order to fulfill the constitutional mandate, that is parliament which must pass the legislative, must pass the laws. Therefore, I've been performing that role very, very effectively in cabinet and in parliament. I have therefore 2 opportunities, in cabinet and in parliament. If I don't talk so much in parliament, I'm doing a lot in cabinet. But good enough, I've been doing both. Therefore, legislative role I've been playing. But including the budgetary aspect, But social responsibility is a responsibility of a leader. It is okay that people, legislators should participate in people's funerals, they should participate in people's weddings, they should participate in people's fundraisings, in all other social functions. That is a social responsibility. It is additional. It's not the main function of electing an MP. It is additional. If you can do it, fine, you should do it, and it is very healthy for the country and for the people to make sure that it is done. I have done very, very well. I have done very well in that. It is only that it's not my habit to go boasting around my social responsibility activities which I undertake. I think they are really more at a personal level, a give and take. And once you give, you don't go around boasting. But if somebody wanted to find out, he could go down on the grounds and find out what I do in the religious circles, in the other circles that I've mentioned, in terms of fundraising and so forth. They can go and find those out. I don't want to boast about those, because even if I'm outside, I will continue to do that.
The question remains, how do you manage them? Because they and even hide from the electorate because of these corporate social responsibilities, and this has made many leaders, fail to even consult their people.
This is what distinguishes a leader. First of all, a leader must be able, from a non-leader, a leader from an opportunist. You must be able to plan. And you must, after planning, you must be able to tell the truth. If you cannot find a church, don't go and lie to them that I'm going to bring you 3 million shillings. I'm going to bring you 3,000 bricks. I'm going to bring you 300 bags of cement. This is a lie. And once you lie, you lose the title of being a leader. For me, I managed by planning and telling the people the truth. Where I cannot, I can't. Where I cannot, for example, if somebody has a sick person and wants me to help, I have only 50,000 shillings which I can offer, I will give that 50,000. But if that 50,000, I have a more pressing demand than that asked by the person, I will politely tell that person, I will never run away from my people. I will never switch my phone away from people. I will never quarrel. I know of leaders who are so quarrelsome when they are asked, they start barking at those people. No, at those voters. No. Explain to them why you are unable. You are a human being. And those voters, those villagers are very understanding. Once you are with them, once you explain to them why something is not happening, you don't have to panic.
Let's look at the issue of the challenges. Many times when you go to the communities, they present several of these challenges. How have you been handling the priority versus some of these demands, which are also used as opportunities? Especially agents have failed many politicians. They will claim a lot of things that ABCD is happening when they're extorting money from leaders.
Now, right from the beginning, when I recruit an agent, I tell him, you are not coming to me for the purpose of benefiting you. You are coming to work with me so that we identify the priorities of the community. I do not say I'm going to make you rich. That is the first point. Be honest to them. Don't make them to believe that now that you are my agent, you are going to be rich. I will have all the money. I know of leaders who go around and say there is so much money in parliament, there is so much money in the government, and yet tomorrow you see them full of debts. Full of debts. Why? It comes back to what I said earlier, lying. So the first thing is be honest. Don't lie to them. Now when they present so many requests to you, it is you as a leader to prioritize. First of all, to explain to them what you can and what you can't. And where you can, you prioritize it. You tell them, let us do this. The others I can't. Even now or even in the future I can't because of A, B, C, D. You explain it to them. And once you do that, I said, these people are human beings, they will understand. If somebody cannot understand that, then you know that the other person is not a genuine agent. He's an opportunist who has come to benefit out of you. That's how I manage.
Let's look at differentiating, legislative role, of which many of our people these days, if you talk a lot in parliament, but you are not on ground, you have never done corporate social responsibility, they think you have not worked. How do you equate the two that determines you even to go back to that parliament?
You see, the common people want to feel you. They want to feel that you are part of them. Yes, you can talk in parliament, but the point is, you let them know that you are talking is for their benefit. There are people who are always talking in parliament, but they don't come to the common people to tell them why and what they are talking, whether it will be beneficial to the people. Therefore, the people develop a negative attitude that this one is just talking, is not doing anything for us. But like I said, if you explain why you are talking is useful, there is no way you can fail to be with your people. But again, how can you be a good talker? How can you be a good leader and you do not in any way relate in terms of corporate responsibility with your people? Impossible. It may not be always throughout, but there will be situations where you must relate with your people in terms of social responsibility. In other words, it is a balancing act. Balance between the laws that you make and what the people expect of you. And why when you are legislating there, another role for an MP which people don't want to emphasize is the issue of lobbying. You see, government ministries provide for services. Whether it is water, you have to go to the Ministry of Water. Once it is education, you have to go to the Ministry of Education, and so forth. Health, you go there. If you don't have good relationship in parliament with the ministers and with those who are responsible for the resource allocations, then you are as good as useless. Because where are you going to get the resources to deliver so much to your people? You cannot just sit back and say government will see what to give to my people. You are the representative. So you take to the government what they require, your people require, and you lobby. Lobbying does not mean you go and shout at them. You talk to them friendly. You tell them, you see, I have this requirement by my people here. Can your ministry help? The minister may say no, not this time, next time. The minister may say no, this is not a responsibility of government, it is of others like NGOs and so on. So there is also the role of lobbying for services from both the private sector, the NGOs, and the government for our people.
Last two questions. One is this government you've served in and for a long time. We still have priority issues now that you're still going for re-election. What would you seek for this government should do, maybe that it has not done yet for the people of West Nile? You will be proud of by the time you retire in politics. You will believe you are part of it. And as you conclude your interview, politics has been monetized. Money has played a big role in politics, even bringing divisionism and fights. How do you ensure that we don't just play politics because of money?
You know, politics is a service to the people. Politics is a service to the people. People think evil is only in politics. It is like people go to church or to a mosque in order to go to heaven. But not everybody who is in that church or in that mosque is praying to go to heaven. Yes, they make mistakes. Similarly, not everybody in the politics goes for service. This is human nature. People want to use them as an opportunity to do other things. But if you go for service, there is no way you can fail to look at the broader picture. And here for West Nile, and I've said this many before, however much I develop Terego, it cannot be useful for the people of Terego alone. The other areas in West Nile must equally develop, because at the end of the day, West Nile must be a market. a market in which our people are able to sell their produce, a market from which people can go beyond to sell their produce in Congo, in South Sudan, and so forth. So what am I saying? I'm saying that yes, in terms of the broader picture, one of the things I would want to see when I go to the 12th Parliament is the completion of this power network in West Nile. Why? Because it is here that people are going to produce and be able to industrialize and add value addition to their crops, which are the basic products in West Nile. And with this value addition, West Nile would gain. So power is one of my biggest priorities. Then there are a few other trunk roads which are left, which I would want to see government work on. I'm happy to say that when we were in the 6th Parliament, I participated very seriously in lobbying government for this road from Karuma up to Arua. I would want government to repair that road completely. Similarly, the network from Nebi via Paida, Zombo, up to Vorahia, and up to the border, I would want that to be completed. Why? What am I looking at there? I'm looking at the market. Similarly, I would like government to work on the road from Panamur, Pakwach, Rhino Camp, Laropi up to Nimule. What am I looking at? I'm looking at the production capacity of the Nile, both for irrigation and for fishing. You see, the Nile in the long run provides one of our best food baskets and commercial baskets. Therefore, if you open that road along the Nile, you're going to have a huge opportunity for production. That is something I would like to see. Similarly, I would also like to see a mind change. More of our young children should be educated, should be skilled. I want to see 2 more skilling centers. We've got one in Zombo, we've got another one in Jumani, but I think it will be good if we had one in between Koboko and Maracha for that area, and then another one between Maracha, Terego, Madiokolo for this area. That way we would have covered our young people and given the opportunities for employment. You see, these youth are going to continue to rise in numbers. We're producing very well. But at the same time, we're also producing a lot of, biologically we're producing very well. But at the same time, education-wise, we're also producing many of them. In senior 4, senior 5, senior 6, tertiary institutions. Where are these people going to get employment? The only opportunity is skilling and many other things which should be done in West Nile. But most important, I want to see that the peace in West Nile continues. Because when West Nile has got peace, West Nile can become the economic center of Africa. The other day when I made this statement in Yumbe, during the peace celebrations, people who look very short-sighted, started laughing at me. But I want to assure you, 15, 20, 30 years from now, West Nile will become the economic hub of Africa. We will be producing, importing, and exporting to Central Africa, Northern Africa, Western Africa, East Africa, South Africa, because we are central located with a very good opportunity. Suppose we had this airport, which is one of my last infrastructure things which we must press for. This airport of Arua, developed international airport. Which plane would want to go and land in South Africa? I mean in Entebbe, in order to reach South Africa. In terms of efficiency, they would rather land in Arua, take off straight to South Africa. They would rather land in Arua, take straight to Lagos. They would rather land in Arua and take to Zanzibar, take to Cairo. So because West Nile is the center of Africa, geographically, And if it is the center of Africa geographically, we can make it center of Africa economically. This is my vision.
Your final words, but elections without violence. Just the NRM, party structure LC1, we have started seeing violence coming in. How can we have peaceful elections?
Elections are competition. And in every competition, you see scuffles. But every scuffle is not a violence. Like the recent elections which were held, yes, they were. If you look at the number of violent positions, what people are calling violent areas, and compared them with those which were peaceful, it is over 98%. So in a competition, look at the football competitions. You'll find one player accidentally or somehow knocking the leg of the other one. That does not mean that the player came deliberately to knock the leg of the other one. No. I believe NRM elections are the best example of non-violent, free and fair elections. I urge all other parties to follow that suit and learn from. They should come and learn from NRM. So I'm convinced there will be free and fair elections. Those who are planning violence, my appeal is forget about it, because the security people are there. They are watching you. And NRM is always at the top when it comes to the issue of maintenance of security. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.